in so many ways, he was the consummate host, like in so many ways. And in one little way, he even knew, like once I started drinking Black Tooths and I actually would like drink that, I didn't really like Crown Royal or Seagram's because it was too sweet for me. It's too much sugar. So, I had already started like finding other whiskeys and bourbons that I really liked. So, single barrel. I immediately became a bourbon snob, and I was only drinking really good bourbon and all that. And I would say, why don't you try like this kind of stuff? He's like, I don't like that kind of crap, man. It all tastes burnt to me. Like he just liked the real sweet, easy to drink stuff. And so then there was like a show somewhere, and I show up, and it's like Black Tooth, yeah. And he goes, hold on a second. He goes, your shit's under the table over there, and it's in the dressing room, and I like move there's like a tablecloth, and I move it, and there's like a bottle of Maker's Mark hidden behind that he specifically made sure was there for me because he knew I didn't want Crown. So he goes, all of your Black Tooths are made with that, just so you know.
The one thing that made me look at my lead playing a little differently was when Dimebag passed away. And not that I'm going to fill Dime's shoes, because nobody can do that, but I paid more attention to my leads and wanted to make them more memorable in memory of Dime, because nobody's going to hear his great leads or songs ever again. So I wanted to make myself better playing leads, so I've tried that the last 2 records.
As the story goes, Dime rolls up in a limo, falls out, shaking, and the guy's going, oh my God, Dime's not going to be able to do this. And Dime looks up and says, jacked you off, didn't I? And that's the kind of fun bastard he was, man. I love Dime. I miss him every day. And if it wasn't water, I'd be cheering Black Tooth. And I want all you guys, cheers Dime. 1, 2, 3. Thanks.
The first time I met Dimebag, we were doing a photo shoot for the cover of Guitar World. And I've heard a lot about this crazy guitar player who was like a big fan of mine. He's got my face tattooed on his chest, and all this crazy stuff. And we really ended up hitting it off. He's just a really genuinely good guy and a great musician. And I know we all miss him very much. A few years later, we ended up hooking up on the road and jamming, and I don't even remember what happened because it was one of those nights. And a few years later, I had the pleasure of spending the weekend at his home with him and Rita and Vinny, and we were hanging out for the weekend. I found out at dinner last night that was probably 75% of the things I did that I didn't remember. But it was all in good fun, right?
I saw them at a club. Me and a friend of mine listened to Cowboys from Hell for probably about 8 months, before anybody even knew who the hell they were, and we turned people onto it all the time, and then of course they fell in love with them too. But I saw them at a club called, I think it was Club 367 in St. Louis. I was like right in the front, and I mean there were probably 20 people on stage the whole time, with the band, but they jump up and just fly off, jump up, fly off, or whatever, and Brady comes out and he sets the wall down and he goes like this to me, and I just reached up and he grabbed his hands, he pulls me up on stage, and I just flipped back into the crowd. This was my first stage dive. And that's an early memory, to what where that band was then at a club versus where that band got, and it's a testament to what they did, because they followed that timeless art of being able to pick your fans one at a time, one show at a time. They left a mark. They touched somebody. They touched their soul with what they did. And it forever changed my life.
Well, I always tell this story, and it's probably the strongest one. In 1990, I think it was, when we were rehearsing for the Painkiller tour up in Canada. I was in my hotel in Toronto watching a show up there called Much Music. Not sure if it's still on. I turned in and I saw this guy in a British Steel shirt, talking about metal and talking about his band Pantera. And just listening to him speak so wonderfully about his band, about metal, about the fans, I thought, this guy is just real. I can sense it right away. So I called up Much Music, and I said, is that guy still there? And they go, yeah. I said, would you mind asking him to wait? Because I'll be there in 5 minutes. I just walk around the block. And we met for the first time, and we hit it off instantly. And that night they were playing at a little club somewhere in Toronto. and I went and jammed a couple of pre-songs with them. And I thought, this band is going to be huge. So I told the rest of the guys, I said, you know, when we do Europe, after we do the American leg, we should take this band with us. We should take Pantera to Europe with us.
I just remember him as being such a really cool guy. He was always happy. He'd always come to our shows when we played Dallas, and he'd invite us to his clubhouse. And he'd always bitch at Monkey and Head to play guitar solos. I always remember that. And he's just a great guy. It was just so unfortunate that happened to them. But he'll always be remembered. He's one of the greatest guitar players ever. I mean, if it was no Dimebag Darrell, there would be no Korn, obviously. I mean, he basically helped invent that kind of groove, heavy kind of thing. So, I mean, he's definitely a guitar god in my eyes.
Well, Dimebag, I did meet and hang out with a bunch of times back in the day, and just one of the nicest guys. I mean, really sweet guy. I have one specific memory of hanging out with him at the opening of the Hard Rock in Orlando, and just a great night. He and myself and Zakk Wylde and Nikki Sixx and Duff and, you know, a bunch of different guys, and all just hanging out and having a great time. And he was just really cool. But he was a phenomenal guitar player, you know, too. And back then I didn't even know who he was. He was just cool. I didn't know much about Pantera. But later on, you know, he's had this a great tone and a great original style, and wrote very unique kind of riffs and whatnot. So, you know, he was one of the best new guitar players that came out over a long period of time.
Their extreme thrash heaviness of that music is just it's a template of that design for, and all other bands, whether it's Lamb of God and all the other bands in that genre, they're measured. Pantera is the gold standard.
I imagine it's incredibly emotional when you're up there, because you guys were friends, right? You and Dimebag. So I imagine when you're playing and you look up and during floods, it's gotta be...
I mean, especially when we do floods and everything like that, because you know, Dime was really proud of that one.
Yeah.
And, you know, just the ending, you know, without a doubt, I'd definitely get choked up playing that one every night. And, you know, and then when I see the visuals on the screen and everything like that, because, you know, obviously I'm facing the crowd, so I don't see the video screens, but the footage that I've seen, I'm like, wow. So
it's heavy.
Know, yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Heavy.
But yeah, but I get, you know, choked up doing that one. But usually, you know, most of the time you're in the zone and you're doing what you got to do.
One of the things people don't know about Dime, he had a guitar in his bathroom. I went in his bathroom one time. I sat down. I was like, he's got a guitar and he's got his little tape recorder. What's that doing in here? I said, Dime, what's the deal with the guitar in the bathroom? He goes, man, that's where I write all my riffs. That's why my riffs are the shit. Sitting right there on the toilet, man. I mean, he straight up told me that, you know. And he recorded and made some of the most amazing. He would go to have a bad experience at Taco Bell and write a song about it. I mean, and all this stuff is recorded and in the vault. And at some point, I think people would really enjoy hearing it. It's fun stuff, you know. Just him singing about life, things that he went through, you know. And nobody really knows him as a singer, but he was a pretty damn good singer too, you know. And I would like to put that stuff out for people to hear at some point. Yeah.
So if you ever had writer's block, maybe just give himself some food poisoning and hash it out.
Dude, he never had writer's block. That dude could write a song about anything. And when I said a song about Taco Bell, there's actually a song about Taco Bell. He really did do that.
You got to release that.
Yeah, man, without a doubt.